Green Bay, it just feels like warm weather L.A., Jared Goff's hands all messed up. And I feel like, oh, my God, this is just a bad spot for the Rams to be in. Now, here's the downside to Green Bay is you've been in these spots. You're a big favorite. You're off a bye. You could be a little rusty. Tell us what it's like to be in that spot for Green Bay right now. Hey, can't wait till you guys win this game and move on to face blank in the NFC Championship. Is that something you have to fight in Green Bay occasionally?
You do, because all the expectations are there for you to move on. Like, everyone believes that Green Bay should win this game, and they will win this game. And so when you have that type of expectation, and it's not just outside the locker room, this is how they believe within that locker room. And so they know the position that they're in. And to be frank, Aaron Rodgers, we don't know how many more opportunities like this he has to have this type of team to be able to accomplish what's in front of him, which is a Super Bowl championship. We don't know his window. And so you got to take advantage of it right now. So they understand that. And I believe the Rams are on the other end of it, looking at it like, look, we weren't supposed to be here. And they're going to think that we're a LA team, we're not accustomed, or we can't become acclimated to the weather. None of that really matters when you get to the playoffs. It's all about just taking those 3 hours that you have to play, locking in and executing as best as you can. And whoever out executes their opponent in these playoffs for those 3 hours plus, they typically win the ball game.
You know, it's interesting. There's been a lot of upsets. I just talked about Peyton Manning, 13-3, losing as a 9-point favorite to Flacco. The Patriots, 9-point favorite, losing to Mark Sanchez. Big Ben, 9-point favorite, losing to Jacksonville. Last year, Baltimore. So it's funny when it comes to upsets, Greg. This is so weird. As a television viewer, I always feel like if an upset's going to happen, you can sense it in the first two drives. You just feel like, oh, that line of scrimmage is an issue. What will I have to see by the Rams for you to think, oh, boy, this is not good for Green Bay?
Well, it'll be them getting off to a slow start. And what that means is them not being able to move the ball methodically. And here's the reasons why that would happen. Because, number one, the Rams can get pressure from an interior perspective because of Aaron Donald. He's going to garner so much attention, and then that leaves Leonard Floyd and the others on the edge to then secure that edge and pass rush from there. You try to confine Aaron Rodgers to the pocket. You have Jalen Ramsey, who can match up on the perimeter against your best receiver. And then you have other guys, Darius Williams, Troy Hill, all these pieces that have played really well in pressure situations. They haven't been in this type of situation, but they have performed. And so when you look at that, if they can stifle this offense early and often and disrupt their rhythm and timing, you got to believe, because they adjust well. When you look at Brandon Staley, he adjusts every single possession. He doesn't wait to the second half. He doesn't wait to the second quarter. He assesses, and he's always trying to be a step ahead so his players know what's coming. And that's what I really like about this Rams defense versus the Green Bay offense. And that's what I'm most fearful of for the Packers, because when you haven't played that rhythm, it might take a minute for you to find it. And if you can't find it right away, you may never find it. I've been in that situation. Colin, you know this. When we've had the bye and we were 15-1 and the Giants came in and we just never could get our footing. The expectation was for us to steamroll these guys or just beat them, and we never could get our footing. We were an explosive offense, and we sputtered out the gates, and we never got it going.
Yeah, no, I remember that team. And again, it was the Giants' defensive front getting Aaron a little off his spot, and that's all it takes. Because go ahead.
And I'll say this. A lot of people don't like to talk about pressure, and Aaron Rodgers does have the pressure on him to perform well. And this is why. And I'm not saying he can't meet the expectations, because he typically does. But this is the reason why Aaron Rodgers has to perform well. If he doesn't, he is their best player, period. If he does not perform well, meaning play a flawless game. That doesn't mean he has to throw for 300-plus yards and 4 touchdowns, but he has to play flawless. What does that look like? That means get rid of the ball, help his offensive line, because they are going to be under duress all night long or all afternoon when it comes to that front seven. And so he's going to have to get rid of the ball, make decisions, be decisive, win with his legs, and continue to move the ball and score when they're in the red zone. That's how you beat this Rams defense. You're not going to get a bunch of chunk plays, but when they are there, you got to capitalize.
By the way, Sean McVay is something like 36-0 when he leads at half. So Green Bay comes out off a bye a little slow. What you don't want to do is fall behind at half, because McVay's never lost when he leads at half. So Urban Meyer goes to the Jags. And Joy and I were just talking about this. If I was Urban Meyer, first of all, it's going to be a young roster. He's going to be very good in the college personnel game in draft, because this is what he knows. That's what Pete Carroll did. These college coaches, they do pretty well in the draft. Matt Rule, by the way, Carolina had a pretty good draft. So my guess is he's going to have a fairly young team, Trevor Lawrence, a lot of draft picks. That will work to his advantage. But let me ask you, for the 15 to 20 veteran players on that Jacksonville roster, will they be cynical or skeptical of a iconic college coach coming in?
I'm going to go on the side of saying no, because when you look at the Jacksonville Jaguars, they haven't experienced success. A lot of these guys aren't still there from when they had the success a few years back, when they beat the Pittsburgh Steelers, when they got to the AFC Championship game. So you have a lot of turnover since then. And when you have that type of turnover, you just want to have a coach that gets it. And Urban Meyer gets it. He's not one of these coaches that, I get it, he's coming from college, but he's always made whatever situation he's been inserted in better. He hasn't slightly improved it. He's drastically improved every situation. And when you have a track record of that, you can take that template and move it anywhere in life. I don't care who you are, because he understands what it takes. It's not just about Urban Meyer, and he's been always clear about that. It's about his players, getting the right personnel, making sure his coaching staff understands that they have a role to play, and delegating and giving them the liberties to do what they do best. And he doing what he does best, which is really elevating and taking every situation, every program, and now the Jacksonville Jaguars to the next level. And he has everything. I love this roster. I know a lot of people will knock it, say they're young, they don't have this and they don't have that. They have a lot of really good young talent. Laviska Shenault, DJ Chark, James Robinson on offense. And then you get Trevor Lawrence. That you have a solidified offense going in, and youth that can grow together. So he's going to have an opportunity to allow these young guys to flourish, and these older veterans who would be optimistic or kind of opposed to having a college coach come in, because it is Urban Meyer and you know the track record that comes with him. You don't do that. You embrace that, and you're excited about the opportunity. Okay,
so New Orleans is favored over Tampa. And I think New Orleans has the best roster in the league. You know that roster. I think it's very, very good. So have you ever had to beat a team 3 times? Go back to your career. I think it's hard to beat even inferior teams twice. You tell me, when you face a team multiple times in a season, even if you finish the season with a team and you open up with them the next season with a team, how difficult is it for the Saints this weekend?
It is going to be a challenge. And my experience with having to face a team 3 times, it goes back to our Super Bowl run, when the last game of the season, kind of like the Cleveland Browns this year, it was we win, we're in. And we played the Chicago Bears, and they played their guys, and we beat them, and we got in, and we ended up beating them in the NFC Championship game. And so, I believe they had gotten us earlier in the year. I'm not quite certain about that, but when you look at a team that has beaten a team twice, automatically you assume, yeah, we got these guys. But New Orleans have been hurt in these playoffs enough to know better. They're not going to take for granted the fact that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are playing better. They have chemistry. They have greater chemistry now. And when they had them the first game of the season, it was Tom Brady's first time under center with this new head coach, with this new team, with these new pieces. All the things weren't really aligned. You get them a little later, he's a little more comfortable, and you disrupt everything that they do. If New Orleans can continue to respect their opponent and play the way that they've been playing all year, getting rid of the ball, not turning the ball over, but getting turnovers, they will be just fine. They apply so much pressure, and they're good up front against the run. They're good in the secondary. They can disrupt. They can harass receivers. They can get hands on balls. They do so many things well. It is hard for me to see this team losing at home against a team that they are already confident that they match up against.
Good stuff, Greg Jennings. Good talking to you. We'll talk soon.
Absolutely. Appreciate it, Colin.
You bet. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.